Great to be here, and hello, everybody, and the entire community of the Asia CEO Forum. What an awesome chance to be able to connect with other leaders here, at least online. And yeah, hopefully we'll all be able to get a chance together to share some of these ideas one day in person. All right, so in terms of e-commerce and Prosperna, what's really been interesting is how the world has really changed. And a lot of that change in human and consumer behavior has really led us to focus our mission on empowering 100,000 MSMEs in our country with e-commerce software that's made for the Philippines. Beyond all that, what I really want to do today is help share some of the biggest Philippine e-commerce trends that we're seeing, every day around the clock. And then also, based on those e-commerce trends, we want to share some of the tips and lessons learned from helping customers and working with partners, specifically here in the Philippines. And then last but not least, I'm just going to put all this together and maybe show some examples and case studies of how some of the MSMEs out there and what they're doing in the Philippines that are using the Prosperna platform. So Philippine e-commerce trends. And Richard, I'm sure a lot of the folks watching and participating are seeing and feeling these things, but I think it's really important to put some of the measurable metrics on what's actually happening based on data here in the Philippines and in Southeast Asia. So clearly now there are measurable movements where, as you can see here, there's a huge shift to online. 30% of the people have shopped online for something that normally they would have bought offline. So really what that means is that's that first tipping point, that spear where people are saying, I would not go this other channel. I will go to this new channel of online, right? 42% then have actually shopped for groceries. And we point that out because groceries are, number one, food is a very important part of the Filipino culture. And it's also got a high importance of quality and freshness. So to see something of this significant measurable change, I think is a big sign and symbol of what's happening, here in our country. Now, what even makes it more interesting is the amount of new and first-time users of digital apps. So there were over 84% of people who started downloading and using more digital apps in the last 12 months. So again, these are three major things that are shifting everybody's behavior from a consumer level, from a business level, from an entertainment, even from a friendship and family level, right? Now, these trends actually, believe it or not, are shifting also across different age and income segments. So this is what's really cool is it's spreading across even folks from 45 to 54 years old are trying digital apps for the first time. And that's a huge number of 78%. And of that kind of upper age of 55 and over, 35% of them have said that they want to and they plan to shop more online in the future. And then when you look at the other end of the spectrum, some of the lower income respondents that were part of this study in Southeast Asia, which included the Philippines, over 45% of them said that they also plan to shop online. So although we're probably, seeing and feeling it, right, in our local communities and in our Viber groups, and we're getting pinged all the time, I'm just, as a leader building a tech startup, I always say the data doesn't lie. And this is what's interesting is the data around our country. So these are some, I think, really strong trends that leaders should pay attention to these days. Let's face it, Richard, if you or anybody else out there listening, if I was to give you a choice to either watch a movie on Netflix or to watch a movie on DVD, which one would you choose, right? If I was going to ask you, hey, could I take that wonderful new high-powered Samsung super mobile smart device from you and exchange it with a flip phone. Would you be okay with that? Probably not. Now, I don't know if some of you guys remember even some of the traditional maps, because having moved here to the Philippines a few years ago, I would have been lost without Google Maps. And I remember years ago that some of my family and cousins said, oh, Google Maps will never work in the Philippines. But today, I don't think I could ever even find or buy or try to buy a map at a gas station. So, you know, these are just some small examples that I think when you look at the metrics and then you start to realize how all these day-to-day small behaviors add up, I think it's a wonderful, great opportunity to see our country, you know, adapt into technology, not just e-commerce, because technology has proven to bring benefits and advantages to how companies operate. So amidst all of these trends, right, that we're seeing, here's just a few simple tips that we want to emphasize to our country of Philippine MSMEs. So if you really want to see your business transform and win online, these are some things that I think, number one, we do. And we do these things day in, day out, you know, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And these are also the same things that we help our customers with in trying to guide and coach them through this, you know, digital transformation process into e-commerce. So what are they? Number one, and the good news is this should not be a surprise, but content is still king. With the amount and volume of time that we're all spending online, the only way to get your brand and get your story and get your products and services in front of customers is content. That's how the digital machine of, you know, Facebook, Google, etc., Instagram, that's how they are all fueled. So the easiest way to think about content for your company, because a lot of organizations will come to us and say they don't know what is content, or they don't know how or what to write about content. And we help them build this very simple framework. And by thinking of who is your audience and what is your audience trying to gain, right? Everybody's trying to gain something when they go online. Even if it's as simple as I'm looking for entertainment, right? Or I'm, you know, trying to plan a small gathering on the weekend, or I'm trying to improve efficiencies on how I, you know, run my accounting, since my accounting office is now a distributed, you know, workforce working from home, right? So you can think about things in that way and plug in your company's products and services. You can also think about it like this. What is my audience trying to avoid? You know, why not publish, write, or video, you know, content that is tying to people's emotions, right? Because as they say in life, people are trying to either gain something or avoid something. And, you know, the online digital world is a great way, you know, to help people avoid, for example, the pain that your product or service resolves, right? And by walking through and trying to understand what your audience is trying to gain, avoid, and solve, you can then, right, provide value. And perhaps that value connects to your product and service. So that's tip number one. Number two, I can't express this enough. It's super important that companies embrace and do the hard work. There is no shortcuts. So you've absolutely got to spend time observing, watching, knowing, and talking to your customers. As a software company, you know, we're building dozens and dozens of new features every 2 weeks. In fact, that was a meeting I just jumped off of, right? Which is our product roadmap meeting that we have every week, so that we can help, you know, solve, customers' problems as they are adapting and figuring out how their processes need to evolve with the technology. So even if you're not in tech, it's no different. And I'm going to share with you guys some examples of what some of our customers have done, to build their brand and reshape their business by knowing and talking to customers, which led to some success. Tip number 3. And Richard, I know that you guys not only believe this, but I know you guys practice and do this, because I think everybody is very familiar with the Asia CEO Forum. And this is no different. It's not really a secret. It's something that we all know, but it's that hard work of being consistent. So the marketing research out there shows that 41% of consumers say that being consistent is the most important thing to them. That is what helps them identify your brand. So sadly, a lot of companies out there, small, medium, and large, they have this misperception that technology alone will solve the problem. The reality is, hey, it's a formula that, just similar to a recipe, has many pieces and many parts. And so if you combine these 3 tips along with technology, you will definitely increase your chances of success in e-commerce, right? So here's a quick success story that I'd love to share. Richard, I'm not sure if you or any of the other team out there has tried Lola Nena's wonderful triple cheese donuts. Sounds pretty yummy. But Lola Nena's is a story of a home-based bakery. And here's what happened. They had a traditional store, retail store-oriented business where they had this vast menu of many different favorite Filipino, delicacies. Well, obviously, the traditional retail stores had all shut down, and therefore they had to explore what the online world was all about. Now, in that journey of exploring online via social media, they then listened intently to their customers, and that listening actually forced them to narrow down their menu to find their top sellers, because a lot of the other products weren't really suited to buy and sell online. And now today, their number one seller, they are absolutely selling thousands of simple but amazingly yummy triple cheese donuts online. And they've actually bounced back and started opening more locations instead of the ones that shut down. And those locations are now commissaries to fulfill their massive skyrocketing sales that is all online. We're happy to say that they're a customer powered by Prosperna, but this is a great success story. And if you haven't tried it, certainly suggest that you do so. So where does Prosperna come in when it comes to helping Philippine MSMEs? So just to round things out, in case many of those in the audience isn't quite sure, how Prosperna fits into the e-commerce world, here's what we do. On this mission to empowering 100,000 MSMEs, we actually have a mobile-first, free Android e-commerce platform. So literally in minutes, any micro or home-based business can start an online store without any coding, right? So they could have this online store that's completely mobile friendly, and then they can share it across all their social media platforms, from Facebook, Viber, WhatsApp, Instagram, etc. So MyChat is a great way for starting small and getting your business online. And then companies can graduate to our My Store, which is a more fully featured theme-based online store that can connect with Lazada, Shopee, etc., so that you can improve how your brand and your customer experience works. So all of these systems are pre-integrated with payments and shipping, which makes our system the most suited system for local enterprises of any size. And of course, it's backed by great local support. And this is what we love, is to bring this Silicon Valley level quality with amazing local support specifically made for our country. So Richard, that's really it. Hopefully this was helpful in terms of the sharing of some of the e-commerce trends on what's really happening, and tying that to the what we believe are the 3 simple tips that every and any size company can do, and just rounding it off with a success story of how companies like Lola Nena's are using Prosperna and these tips to be successful online. Thanks again, Richard.